Guys, well, today we're looking at another fixed blade. As you can see from the logo there, this is a Ruger model. Okay, also on the sheath. And as most of you guys know, Ruger knives are produced by Columbia River Knife and Tool. So there's our CRKT logo on the back. Alright, this one is called the Accurate. This comes in two different flavors. This upswept blade here, as well as a drop point. Price on these are anywhere from $50 to $60. I believe for some reason the drop point ends up costing a little bit more. I see those more towards the $60 price range as opposed to these being like just over 50 bucks, $52, $53, something like that. Interesting, more affordable hunting knife. This is kind of a dedicated hunting knife design. These are produced in China, so no surprise on the steel, which is an 8CR13 MOV. As you can see, that light reflecting off of our blade, it is hollow ground. Alright, these did come razor sharp out of the box. Only use this to cut some cardboard. I don't personally hunt, if you don't know that already, so no possibility of going out and skinning any kind of game. But that's really the main purpose of these knives, is to be, hunting knives or general purpose hunting, which obviously there's a bunch of different cutting tasks you would do as a hunter, but one of the bigger ones being skinning game. As far as the 8CR13 MOV, on skinning game, I've gotten actually a lot of feedback from hunters who watch the channel who are very much into knives. A lot of them do prefer some softer steels. Obviously, there's going to be guys that want their D2 and 154 cm and so forth, but when you're dealing with skinning, you have a possibility of hitting bones, very hard surfaces, rocks, who knows, your knife can slip and hit something in the forest ground or whatever. So having a softer steel is kind of beneficial in that you won't be as likely to chip out your blade. If you do hit something hard, you'll probably roll your edge, which can be easily fixed. So it is what it is, but as far as the price tag on these go, it makes sense. If you want a more expensive knife, obviously you're going to expect a little bit higher quality on steels and performance. So it's in the range though. 8CR13 MOV for 50 bucks. That's pretty common. As far as the actual design, I do like it. There is one thing I don't like about this knife, and I'll talk about it in just a minute here, but first I want to finish some of the specs on this. It's 9 inches overall. I kind of consider this like a medium-sized fixed blade. You can see it, compared to the hand here. It's got enough blade there. It's meaty. Blade's 4.3 inches long, but it's not a massive, woods knife or anything like that. As far as the weight, 6.2 ounces. Okay, our sheath, as you can see here, is just a very simple nylon drop-down sheath, simple belt loop, which is sewn in. The sheath, it's kind of pressure fit. You can see we have a metal bolster here, and that is basically making contact with this portion of the sheath. So it's almost pressure fit, but it's very easy to get in. It's very easy to pull out, but it's not going to fall out very easily. Okay, so it's not like there's no Kydex insert or anything. It's not clicking in. But unless you're doing multiple cartwheels through the woods while you hunt, which I doubt is a thing. I don't know if any hunters have ever done a cartwheel in the woods ever. But maybe if you fall out of your tree stand, there's a possibility of this coming out of the sheath. But otherwise, it's not going anywhere. It's actually very nicely fit, but still very easy to pull out. Okay, so if you need it, you don't have to worry about making much noise or have struggling getting that out. So the sheath is just kind of like, it's okay. But yeah, I mean, as far as the design, you can see here is ergonomics. You do have the bolster, which extends, which is nice, keeps your hand from riding up, okay, especially if you're working hard. Something like a dedicated hunting knife, you have to consider wet conditions. Number one, blood. Obviously, if you're skinning something, there's going to be a lot of blood. Okay, also, just being out in the elements, you're going to be dealing with a lot of rain, mud, stuff like that. So grip and ergonomics, I think, are extra important in something like a hunting knife. The bolster really helps. Again, that's going to keep your hand from riding up, okay, if you do, slip on something, so you're not going to get cut. But other than that, these rubber scales, they call an overmold, but they're literally just scales, as you can see here, which are removable if you want to get under there to clean. I think that's a good choice. It's a very dense rubber, okay? There is a lot of grip on here with the texturing on that. So it's going to facilitate a better grip when wet. And again, talking about a hunting knife, there's going to be a lot of situations where it's wet. Rain, mud, blood. All right, so that was a good choice, I think. The butt end flares out a little bit, okay? So again, you're kind of like locked in there. You see oversized lanyard hole. A lot of guys like lanyards on their hunting knives so they can really secure them, to the wrist. It's pretty good. There is a palm swell, as you can see there, if I move this. You get a better view. See how narrow it gets down here. It is very, very comfortable in the grip. Now, I do have a gripe. Grip's good, but I have a gripe. Right here on the bolster, and I have to kind of get in nice and close. I'm going to zoom in because I tend to get better perspective on it when I zoom in. But you can see the bolster, there's a tiny bit of gap on the back side here, and if I give you this view, hopefully you can see the bolsters, it's one piece, but there's obviously a slit cut into it, so, you know, when they're assembling a knife, they put it towards the front, right, all the way up to this point here, and it locks in, and I'm not sure exactly how it's, you know, stays in place or anything. However, not only is there a tiny bit of a gap on the right side here, but right here on the very corner, the metal sticks up just a hair. Okay, so what happens is when I'm using this, my thumb rides forward right here, it grabs. Okay, it becomes a sharp point. So that's a hit on comfort for sure. All right, it may not seem like a big deal, and 99% of the time, your thumb's going to be over on top here, or you're going to have a natural grip like this, and it's not going to be an issue. But every now and again, when holding this knife, when I was cutting some cardboard, doing some cutting tests and stuff, I went like this and just rubbed forward, and it really irritated the finger. So a little bit of a sharp corner right there on this one. It's not on the other side, and I would have to assume this is not consistent. Some of these Accurates, these models, I'm sure are totally fine. Some of them not so much. But I mean, a little bit of a hit on the fit and finish. There shouldn't be a gap there. And I'm assuming if this was sucked in, or, you know, I mean, if I take a pair of pliers or something and just squeeze on those, if I can kind of get that to bend in a little bit, that'll get take away the issue of this being uncomfortable right here. But that's not something you would expect to do. This is a production problem. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's on a lot of them or just some of them. I doubt it's on every one of them. You know what I mean? Some might be better than others, but again, it's a hit on the quality control. This is something that probably should have been seen before this was boxed up and shipped out for sale. So, you know, there's a lot of great cutlery coming out of China. China shouldn't be a hit. It shouldn't be a negative, like, oh no, this knife's made in China. There's some amazing cutlery coming out of there. It's all about each individual factory, you know, each company, the people who are involved, the people overlooking, you know, quality. That's the problem. And has nothing really to do with the the country of origin so much as the exact company and the people, you know, not doing their jobs or just happening to miss certain things. So that's a downside. That's the only thing I don't like about this. Otherwise, it's a pretty cool little knife, and like I said, it's affordable for a lot of people. I think a lot of people would love to pick one of these up who go out hunting. You want an affordable, nice little fixed blade? This is a pretty good option, but something like that as a knife collector, as not specifically a hunter, I'm not going out and hunting with this knife, that's a turn-off to me, okay? So yeah, it's uncomfortable right there in the corner, and that little gap is kind of a no-no. For the $50 price range, you shouldn't really expect to see stuff like that. When you get down to like, you know, 15, 20 bucks, you're buying a $10 knife, yeah, you're gonna have those inconsistencies, you know? But $50 to $60, you're in the price range, in my opinion, and from my experience, where those are mistakes and little things that just shouldn't be there, you know. So that's definitely a negative to me, and it's a shame because it's a really comfortable knife. It's a very usable knife, you know, but it's unfortunate. It's just something I can't get over when I handle it. I know it's there, and I have to go feel it. I'm like, ugh, yeah, it's there. So here's another close-up before I go. I'd like to know if all you guys out there who own these CRKT Accurates or Ruger Accurates, if you have a similar issue. The gap here, it's just not cool, not supposed to be there. And because of that gap, again, you can see that rubber mold. Let me try to get you a really good angle here. I want to be able to really kind of show this, what's going on here. That rubber is just below that metal line. Okay, so when you go to rub up, you catch the metal. All right, so, you know, it is what it is, but I'm asking you guys, if you own this knife, to let me know if you have a similar problem, because I want to know, maybe it's just this particular knife. It shouldn't have made it out of the factory. You know what I mean? Someone should have caught that, rebolstered it, or whatever they had to do, you know, before it was packaged up and ready for sale. So there you go. There's my opinions on the Ruger Accurate / CRKT Accurate. it's a shame. It's a really cool little knife design, you know, traditional little hunter at a reasonable price, but those inconsistencies make me not want to suggest it or recommend it to people. So it's kind of a negative review. You know what I mean? They're not all winners. I do like a lot of the Ruger models, and there's a couple more you'll see in the future, but this one not so much. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Love to hear your feedback on all the people who own this knife. And that's it. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Take it easy.